Hey, you guys. Hey. This is Mark. Welcome to the Heart of Markness podcast, episode 44. Led Zeppelin, Cleveland 77, part 2. See, I told you I'd get back to it. But before we get into that, I want to play this little snippet for you that appeared about a week ago, maybe a little more than a week ago, on RoyalOrleans.com. It is a very short snippet of a hoarded soundboard tape from the beginning of the 75 tour. I think it's Minneapolis. Can't remember at the moment. There was some debate back and forth, but I think it's Minneapolis. Anyway, it is one of those shows where they played Wanton Song, and I think they played Levy. If they didn't play Levy, they definitely played Wanton Song, and I think they played How Many More Times. Now, as you know, since you listen to this podcast, right, you know there aren't any soundboard tapes from the early tour when they played those cool songs because of Robert's flu and Jimmy's broken finger. So there's this one thing. This guy apparently wants $20,000 for it, and we'll see what happens. There are a handful, at least a handful of amazing holy grails still held in the hands of hoarders who unfortunately think their tapes or videos are worth more than they are. The peak value for selling such stuff was maybe 10, 15 years ago. Now, I mean, Zeppelin is 50 years old now. It's the collector's demand for bootlegs has peaked. They're still out there. Obviously, things are still coming out. But unfortunately, there's some stuff that is just never going to see the light of day because A, people hoard it like Gollum hoarding the ring, or they just want way too much for it and they just price themselves out of the market and they think that one of these days they'll get it. But shit, that tape is 45 years old now. Who knows what condition it's in? Who knows how long it's going to last? And, I mean, whoever taped it is 45 years older. If they keel over, that thing may just be thrown out in the trash or sold for $1 at an estate sale and will never, ever see the light of day. Or what some people are doing is they're trying to put together like a coalition of collectors. Like everybody kicks in $100 kind of thing, and they see if they can buy the tape themselves. I think that's a great idea. One problem is you have collectors hammering people with clarifications, requests. Can we do this? Can we do that? Will you take this? Will you take that? Do you know how important it is to history? And more than one person has been alienated by either the attitude, the gimme, gimme, gimme crowd, or the people that are just not letting it go. Or, you know, some people are just assholes. And they revel in the fact that I have something you don't. And who knows what the situation is with this guy. The person that shared the snippet has had it for years. And he describes the guy as kind of being an asshole. So, who knows? But blah, 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 blah. In any case, here, before we get into Cleveland 77, part 2, I want to play for you this little thing. It's about, it's like 40 seconds long, maybe. But it is soundboard quality of Led Zeppelin playing the Wanton Song, one of the only handful of times they ever played it live. Here you go. I'll be back in a minute. Down, could hardly tell the song ended, right? Pretty cool, huh? Really fucking cool. So I hope we find a way to get that tape or something like it soon. And if it does come out, If there is a fundraising effort, I will announce it and I will participate in it because even I can scrape up $100 and kick it forward if I have to. It's cool. So let's hope to hear more of that. That was a fucking treat, man. And especially because it's so clear, you can not only hear the count off beginning it, you can tell it's Jimmy. Jimmy's little voice, 31 years old. A baby. Get in my belly. Hey, baby. All right. I do not want to consume Jimmy Page, for the record. All right. Cleveland 77. Yada, yada, yada. We skip ahead a couple years from that snippet to the 1977 tour, which is bombastic. You know, one thing that I think I don't like about the 77 tour, aside from all the other things I don't like about the 77 tour, Bonzo's drumming is fucking insane. It's almost out of control, but it's so loud and unbalanced in places that it's like he lost his subtlety. Like the band lost its subtlety on this tour. You'll listen to one of the songs I'm going to play is Since I've Been Loving You. And I don't like the 70s. I don't like the latter day versions. The ones from, 77, 79, 80. Mainly because Jimmy's not playing too great. But on this show, he's playing wonderfully. And I like this. But what makes it less appealing to me is Bonzo playing loud. Very loud. And just not in keeping with the mood of the song anymore. And who knows what it could be? It could be lots and lots of cocaine, which is what I think is a factor. It could be lots and lots of alcohol, lots of alcohol and cocaine. But, I mean, he's playing fine. It's not like he's not playing well. It's just he's playing loud. Like for Since I've Been Loving You, it's, bum, 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 bow, boom, boom, da, boom, boom. It's not, I don't know. It's, you'll hear it yourself. Anyway, I've burned 7.5 minutes on this already. I don't want to F around. So, quick little reminder, if you want to hear part 1 of Cleveland 77, it is episode 42, the podcast before this one. Last week I was staying not at home, and I had to use my laptop mic, so I just did a different show. But this one, I'm back with my beautiful microphone. Thank you, Jeremy. I love you. And ready to go. And one of the things I love about this podcast is that it gives me a deeper appreciation of Zepp. I've been listening to them at an insane fan level for at least 35 years, and at just a regular fan level for like 38. And, wow, that's crazy. My fandom for Led Zeppelin is middle-aged. And I haven't heard it all because I'm very short on patience. And I'm very, very, very flighty. And there's a lot of stuff I hadn't listened to. Not many shows that I've listened to the whole show. Because, skip through Moby Dick. Skip through Dazed and Confused. Skip through the things that are 6 hours long. Is how it used to be. And now I'm listening to this stuff because I want to present it to you. I just don't want to keep presenting songs I like. Here's another Nobody's Fault But Mine. Here's another Nobody's Fault But Mine. Here's a great blues. Here's Communication Breakdown. I mean, all that shit's great. But lots of people like different stuff, and nobody has bitched when I play the longer songs. In fact, several people came forward and were like, thank you. I fucking love that. Including someone who was like, hey, thank you. I've had that show, this Cleveland show, for years, and I don't think I ever listened to it, but I know I never listened to No Quarter because I don't like the big, bloated, epic songs either. But he listened to it on the podcast, loved it, and got an appreciation for it because it was fucking crazy good. As are these songs. 10 Years Gone is what I'm going to play for you first. And as you know, My favorite 10 years gone is what? That's right. Copenhagen, 79, July 24th. It's the best one ever played, in my opinion. It is flawless. The 77 10 years gones that I'd heard up till this point. First of all, I was listening with a bias against 77 Zepp. Secondly, the reason I had the bias against 77 Zepp was listening to 77 Zepp. Jimmy's a little more out of it, sloppy. Excuse me, I'm going to cough. And it just wasn't my bag, baby, except for the acoustic set, which I fucking loved. But now I've been listening to more 77 as I'm presenting you more 77, and I am gaining an appreciation. It's never going to be my favorite tour, but I have to admit it's a different Zeppelin than the hungry young guys or the virtuosos that just came out and blew everybody away. Here it is volume and presence. It is power, mystery, and the hammer of the gods when you saw Zeppelin in 77. Yes, you were going to get a half-hour drum solo and a half-hour noise solo and a half-hour no quarter. And, you know, a 15-minute Trampled Underfoot and a 15-minute Kashmir and a 15-minute In My Time of Dying. And then you'll have the guitar solo. And that's right there. You're at concert length. And then there'll be the handful of songs. But let's power through it and appreciate the fact that Zeppelin was fucking amazing, that these tapes exist. And this is just, like I said last time, the understanding I have of it is that it's just a dude with like a 1970s kind of Brady Bunch era cassette recorder. You know, the rectangular little sits flat on the desk, has the handle and the buttons, and just like your dad had in his office kind of thing. And this thing made a decent tape. Nicely balanced. You know, it's excellent. I'm glad that it exists. This version of the tape was the one that was remastered, or maybe not even remastered, just released by the late and very missed Jason Peterson, who was the admin and owner of RoyalOrleans.com. His username was Presence. His avatar was the Fonz. And man, oh man, did he do a lot for the Zeppelin community. Apparently he was kind of a more of a dickish, asshole-ish traitor at the very beginning of his Zeppelin career. And pissed some people off, burned some bridges, but then had a change of heart and realized that he was not really an asshole. And then he created RoyalOrleans.com, which you should join, and started sharing his stuff and set up a direct download server where you could download songs and shows in the Shorten format. Anybody remember Shorten? SHN? It was before FLAC. It was another lossless thing that we traders did. And anyway, he kind of became the leader of the community and then set up a BitTorrent tracker. And then and Royal Orleans kind of became where the fans would go and debate which were the best songs, which were the best quality recordings, which were the best versions or remasters. And it was a wonderful, wonderful place. And he passed away a few years ago, of a quick-acting cancer. And he fought it, and he was young when he died. It made me very sad. But he Royal Orleans is still going. And some community people have taken it over, and you know, it's gotten smaller, and you know, it's kind of the core of a couple dozen folks, and it's still a place to be. You know, the golden age is over, but it still exists. It's a great resource. I mean, you'll get a lot of eye-rolling emojis and people that just seem to be snarky in the way that, I mean, when you're dealing with super fans, dealing with the minutia of any subject, you have people who will quibble over different editions of James Joyce's Ulysses, how the first edition was what the artist intended. But actually, no, it was the third printing where he looked at the galleys and fixed these corrections. You know, that's where you have the biggest arguments. Like religions. Religious schisms happen over the most minute differences in doctrine and dogma. Anyway, holy shit. Still haven't played the song yet, and I'm 15 minutes in. Jesus, guys, I'm sorry. Okay, let's cut to the chase and play some fucking music. Led Zeppelin, April 28th, 1977. 10 years gone. Cleveland, Ohio. Heart of Markness. I'll see you guys in a little bit. You're going to enjoy this. It's very good. What you'll like is that the balance is great. And similar to Copenhagen, you will be able to hear Jonesy's acoustic guitar very, very clearly. And it is a great mix because you'll hear what Jonesy's playing over what Jimmy's playing. And then later on, Jonesy will come in with the bass pedals. And you can tell because it'll just go from 10 years gone to like... And yeah, so there you go. All right, 10 years gone, April 28th, 1977. See ya soon.
great surprise to me. I never thought I'd see your face the way you used to be. Oh, darling, oh, darling, ooh, yeah, oh, baby, oh, darling, oh, baby.
What are they going to play?
He also wears white socks.
I love hearing that kid. What are they going to play? I love it. I love it that person is like 16 forever in that tape. What are they going to play? Battle of Evermore, son. Battle of Evermore. I almost played that for you fine folks, but it's not good with Jonesy singing the Sandy Denny part. Oh, dance in the dark of night, sing to the morning light. There it is. There's Battle of Evermore with John Paul Jones. I've done it once. Now I've done it twice. So you don't have to. All right. Moving right along. I would like to play for you the last song that I'll play for you ever tonight. And that is Since I've Been Loving You from the same show. Now, this is a latter-day version of Since I've Been Loving You. It's the version that they played on the reunion show, the 2007 Celebration Day show. It's that arrangement, and which is not as much like the studio album. I mean, it is, but it doesn't have the same modes. It is good. It is good. You hear what I mean with Bonzo and the drums? They're just a bit, it's like he can't find the slower groove. I am guessing that is cocaine. Lots and lots of cocaine. But again, it's just me, anecdotal, guessing, assuming, judging. But in any case, here is Since I've Been Loving You. Very good. Jimmy's not as fluid as he was in the years prior, but he is still very good tonight, and it is beautiful in places. Robert's voice is good, and again, the only thing that bugs me is Bonzo's drumming. Not that he's playing poorly. It's just what he's playing doesn't quite match the mood or the manner. That bass drum, man, it's just concussive and with no subtlety. And one thing I love about Bonzo is he's able to play with incredible subtlety. So, anyways, my dear friends, let's say a word to our nameless benefactor who taped this concert 43 years ago, almost exactly. Can you believe that? And somehow this tape gets in the hands of people who can master it, convert it to digital, and then share it freely throughout the world for all time. And until humanity is destroyed, or until Skynet takes over, this lasts forever. Isn't that cool? Alrighty, my friends, Since I've Been Loving You, Cleveland, 1977, April 28th. Heart of Markness, eat your vegetables, brush your teeth, call your parents. Here you go.
drums you can see it. I'm just
And there you have it. Cleveland, 1977, the second night, April 28th. The first night, April 27th, was not that great. They were sloppy, not that together. There's a soundboard recording of that show, and it is... Actually, it was the first bootleg I ever bought. Is April 27th, 77, The Destroyer, on shitty pockmarked vinyl. And I played it, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Because I was like, Jesus, 15, 16, in Manchester, New Hampshire, Inner Light Records, and had no idea what bootlegs were. They were labeled as imports, wink, and I bought the import, wink, for like $35. A lot of money in those days. Back in those days, you could get records for a nickel. And took it home. Was alarmed at the fact that the record had no label. It was just stamped vinyl and had dimples and pock marks and little pieces of grit in it. And sucked. Like, what? Led Zeppelin sucks? What? But the acoustic set was amazing, and that Going to California is still my go-to Going to California. But the next night is much better, which is what we're listening to now, and I hope you enjoyed it. That Since I've Been Loving You, man, I got to tell you, I did not listen to the whole thing through again. I did last night when I was selecting the songs, but tonight I just kind of scrubbed through it because it does not move me as much. It's good. The recording is a little overloaded. I mean, there's not a lot of separation of instruments. I mean, it's a bootleg held by a kid with a tape recorder. But it's still good. It's still good. And next week, man, there is a new soundboard recording of Osaka, September 28th, 1971, which I may want to feature because it's cool beans, man. And I know I've done September 29th, 1971, parts 1 and 2. And this is the same tour just the night before, but it is really magical. It is neat to have a soundboard of that shit coming out. And I may do that next week, or I may surprise you and myself. Who knows? Well, we ran through it. Those are my songs, and now here comes my dance. Follow me on Twitter at Heart of Markness. Follow me on Facebook on Heart of Markness. I have a group on Facebook. Ask to join it. I had a few people join this week. Welcome. Bienvenue. Do it. I'm nice. You like Led Zeppelin? We can be friends. I have a website, heartofmarkness.com, that I have not updated in a very long time, and I don't know why. But it's still there, and you can get the download links to the shows that I've done for the shows that I have posted on there. You can get the whole goddamn show, not just the songs I play you. And lastly, Patreon. I would like you to be a patron. But why, Mark? Why? So you can give me some of your goddamn money. Is that what we want? Is that what this is all about, Mark? It's just about money? No, it's not just about money, but it's also not about money. You like money, right? Right? So, if you like the podcast, seriously, this podcast is always going to be free. I'm not going to take things away from you. Everything you get now for free, you're going to get for free forever. You don't have to support it. You don't have to become a patron. It's totally fine. However, if you want to become a patron and support this podcast because you love Led Zeppelin, and by not supporting this podcast and being a patron, you're saying you hate Led Zeppelin. Just kidding. Then you could get neat things like an extra podcast a month just for you. Well, not necessarily just for you, but for the other patrons, of which you would be one. But if you pay $10 a month gets you the extra show a month. And I have to do that this weekend. And I still have the show. I still owe 2 people a show from January when I was a fucking idiot and started my Patreon on like January 26th or 27th. So these poor people signed up, became patrons, gave me their money, and then like 3 days later gave me their money again because they renewed for February. That was a bad move on my part. It was pure ignorance. I'm sorry. So I owe those 2 people another show, and you'll get it. And I know what it's going to be. It's going to be Queen 1977 from a Mike Miller master tape. That's right. You want to hear that? Do you, motherfucker? Then, well, I don't know, man. This is a Led Zeppelin podcast. Why the fuck would I want to hear Queen? Why the fuck wouldn't you? You like Led Zeppelin and you don't like Queen? This is 1977 Queen. This isn't Radio Gaga. This is Queen. Boom, boom, ba. Boom, boom, ba. Buddy, you're a boy. Queen. You like it. Of course you like it. You better. Anyway, so I'm going to do that. Become a patron, $10 a month. Extra episode a month of Zeppelin or something else really cool. It'll be majority Zeppelin, but there are wild cards I'm going to throw in there because there's cool shit I want you to hear. $20 a month. You tell me the podcast you want me to make. If it's decent and has appeal, it will be a regular podcast that everyone will hear. If it's weird and niche, it might just be for patrons. If it's super weird and niche, like only you will like it, then I will just make it for you and give it just to you, man. Imagine I made this for you. Hello, Jessica. Are you thinking of us? I'm thinking of us. I bet you look lovely today. Anyway, here's Adele. You want me to do that? Give me $20 a month. I'll do a fucking Adele podcast for you. Just one, though. But it'll be good. And for $5 a month, I can just say I love you and read your name off and you can be a patron. And I'm working on merchandising. I'm going to have some stickers made up. I'm going to have mugs, t-shirts, all that bullshit now that I have a logo. And I'm going to incorporate the Microsoft Paint face logo, the original Heart of Markness logo. and do some shit with that too. And if you're a patron, you will get a discount of 10, 15, or 20%, depending on your level of patronage. So consider it. And if you don't want to be a patron, like, dude, I don't want to pay everything every month. You can go to my website, heartofmarkness.com. Somewhere on there, probably at the bottom on a sidebar. Well, why don't I look at it right now since I'm asking you to? Let me look at my own fucking website, heartofmarkness.com. There is a PayPal link if you wanted to kick me some money but not do a subscription thing because it's a pain in the ass and like why. You are completely welcome to. I will be grateful forever. If you wanted to give me some money, I think it's at the bottom of the page. Where is it? Holy shit. Holy shit. Do I not have it on my page anymore? Well, we'll have to fix that. All right. At some point, I will have a PayPal link on my page like I thought I had. And, I'll have to look into that. Anyway, become a patron if you like the podcast, if you're of a mind to, if you can afford it, if it's not a big deal. I mean, everybody said it's a cup of coffee. It is a cup of coffee, but it's a cup of coffee every month. And, I don't always have $5 I can sling every month. And if you don't, no worries. Or if you just don't wanna, no worries. But if you do wanna, please consider being a patron. It does absolutely 100% support the podcast. It does benefit the podcast. It benefits the podcast maker, me. And I don't mean benefits like, mwahaha, I'm Scrooge McDuck sitting in my vault full of coins. But benefits me in like, oh, that's really cool. My hosting was paid for. My SoundCloud was paid for. My Mega subscription was paid for. So I don't have to pay that stuff that I use for the podcast. It's really, really helpful. And I am not a wealthy man in any way, shape, or form. So, $50 a month, not from one person, but like a cumulative $50 a month, it makes a difference to me. It's really cool, and I love you guys for it. And I'm going to show you how much I love you by reading the names of my patrons. They're the same as last week because none of you fuckers have joined. But that's okay. Thank you, Avi, Bill, David, Jeremy, and Mimo. I hope it's Mimo and not Mimo. I don't know. If it is Mimo, then Mimo. Hi. Thank you very much, everybody. I really appreciate you very, very much for your support. It matters a great deal. It takes stress off me because there are times when it's like, oh shit, I wasn't able to pay for SoundCloud this month. I hope I can scrape together the money before, the grace period expires and I lose all my shit. I always have, but now I don't have to worry about that because those people, Avi, Bill, David, Jeremy, and Mimo, got me covered. And if you want to help get me covered, then cover me, baby. Cover me with your sweet money. So yes, Patreon. Okay, that's it. Next week, maybe Osaka, September 28th. Maybe something completely out of left field. Who knows? Shit happens all the time. It happens all the time. This crazy podcast of mine. All right, 47 minutes and a half. That's enough from me. I love you guys. Thank you for listening. Continue to listen. Oh, leave me a review. It really, really helps. Not like helps like boosts my morale and ego. It really, really helps the podcast become more visible to more people looking for Led Zeppelin. So please, on whatever platform you're listening to, take a moment and leave a quick review. Just a sentence, 5 stars, whatever. Leave it. It helps tremendously, and that is a solid way to support the podcast. Thank you, and good night. See you next week, y'all. Where's my cursor? There it is. Okay, bye-bye.